I need to bring gender into this. Welcome to RPG Book Club LongCast, a podcast where we play a little bitty bit of a biggy big video game and talk about how it makes us feel. I am Sam Allman.
I'm David Bernard Houck, and I am tired.
I'm Maddie Grace Webb. I did not. That was a real yawn. That was not planned.
Oh my gosh! So yesterday I was joining a huge meeting that was like almost everyone in the company, and so I joined without video because I wasn't going to be doing anything, and then I did a big loud yawn, and I realized I had accidentally joined with audio, so everyone heard my yawn.
The way you just said join without video makes me think like, man, it's like if you want to not attract the worm, you have to join without video. Like
That's
walk
silly.
without rhythm.
Yes.
It was just because the words you said sounded like slightly like different words.
How long is that on HBO? I still haven't watched it.
It probably forever.
I think they're on there for the first 30 days, so probably not much longer.
Yeah, I should probably watch that soon.
It's real good.
Oh, tomorrow. Maybe I'll watch it tonight. It came out on October 21st, so today is the 20th. There are 31 days in October, so
That's how days work.
fun. Anywho, so today we will be talking about Chapter 12, I guess, of Final Fantasy 13. But before we get to that, our top 5 for this week is top 5 incredibly specific ice cream flavors. So you can't say chocolate and cover all chocolate. You have to be like Bluebell, the Great Divide, chocolate, half chocolate, etc. So, Bernard, you are the most prepared, so take it away.
Well, I wasn't entirely sure what you meant by this, so I just did top 5 Ben & Jerry's flavors.
That works.
That works.
All right. So number 5 is Half-Baked. Half-Baked I used to think was my favorite, but I think I grew up and matured and also had more Ben & Jerry's ice cream flavors. So now it's just number 5. Number 4 is the Tonight Dough. With that
really
silly
good.
man's face on it. It has the silly man's face on it, but it's good. Number 3, Cherry Garcia, classic.
Classic.
Number 2, fish food, almost perfect, but the little fish-shaped pieces of chocolate sometimes are too hard because they're all frozen, and like sometimes they like rub against the roof of your mouth in an uncomfortable way, so not quite perfect. What is perfect is Stephen Colbert's Americone Dream. That's my favorite ice cream.
It's so good.
It also has the silly man's face on it.
He's a very silly man.
But Americone Dream is so fucking good.
Yeah, I had never heard of fish food. Fish food is chocolate ice cream with gooey marshmallow swirls, caramel swirls, and fudge fish, which dovetails directly into my list. These are not in any order because my whims change on a dime. But Bluebell's Rocky Road ice cream, because they put actual marshmallows in it.
Oh,
everyone else,
so good, dude.
Everyone else has been cheating us on the glory that is actual marshmallows in your Rocky Road.
It's so
and everything else is marshmallow cream like whipped into it. That's not Rocky Road. That is adding a different creamy ingredient into your ice cream. Rocky Road should be chunks of marshmallow, and Bluebell's is amazing. Another one that's way up there is a very recent discovery for me, but pistachio almond by Blue Bunny is the one that I had. I'm sure because Blue Bunny is cheap brand. I'm sure if I got it from like a better brand, it would be better. But it's the only pistachio almond I've ever had, and it was mind-blowingly good. I'd always heard like in cartoons and stuff like, hey Arnold, he orders pistachio ice cream all the time, and I thought it was a joke.
Oh, pistachio ice cream is amazing, dog.
I thought like, oh, how can you make an ice cream out of a nut? That's silly. Like, what is pistachio ice cream? And then I had it, and it changed my life. It is.
That reminds me of when I was playing Persona 5, and they were always having curry and coffee, and I thought that sounds like such a terrible pairing, but it turns out they pair very well.
Weird, because I thought it was a terrible pairing. I thought that was a joke as well. Let's see. That was 2. Another one. In like, this is kind of a general answer, but I do have my favorite of one of these. But Butterfinger ice cream, not the one branded Butterfinger, but the. It's Quick Trip's brand. It's Nature's Touch. That's it. Nature's Touch Butterfinger had like the perfect amount of the Butterfinger chunks in it, and it was great. But I know my rules were incredibly specific, so I picked one. But really, Butter Crunch from Bluebell is great. A Butterfinger Blizzard at Dairy Queen is great. The official branded Butterfinger ice cream is also great. But the Nature's Touch one was like my favorite of those. So then two more. So I really love the chocolate ice cream that's not Dutch chocolate, but the Mexican hot chocolate ice cream for Bluebell.
That's good shit.
That's a phenomenal one. And then my last one is oldie but goodie. A fucking just fudge dipped cone from Dairy Queen. It always hits the spot.
Sam, your list and my list overlap so much.
You know what is a good ice cream product?
What?
Good old fashioned Klondike bar is a really good ice cream product.
They're pretty good. Yeah. I like them. All right, so my list is not complete because I'm too sleepy, and also I don't really love ice cream that much. It's not like my favorite treat, so I wouldn't really have the most strong opinions on it. My favorite ice creams are, I go to the store every week and I get some ice cream for me and my girlfriend to enjoy after dinner. What my girlfriend has a sensitive wiggle tongue, so I have to get the like slow churned or creamy churned or whatever variety of ice cream, and not all, and that means you're limited in the flavors that you can get. So every time I go to the store, there's maybe 4, 5, 6 different choices, and it's usually the same one. Sometimes there's something new. So I just get whatever. I get something different from last time. It's always good. I always tend to like the new one either more or less than the one we had last time. It's something really, 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 really good. I'll get it multiple times in a row, but usually it's like, we can use a variety. So anyway, first of all, shout outs in general to Bluebell though, because they don't have that shit out in California and
or up here, and it's sad. This
is not just Texan chauvinism. Okay, like Bluebell ice cream really is that good. There's a reason why when they had a big recall and then shortage due to like problems with it was like killing people or something. It was not that don't sue me, but it did have problems. That's not slander. There's a reason why
I thought you meant the fact that there was a recall and that there was a shortage. I thought the fact that people couldn't get the ice cream was what was
So I'm saying there's a reason why when people weren't able to get Bluebell ice cream for a while, they lost their fucking minds. I would have too. It really is that good. Even just their basic flavors, their basic chocolate and shit. It's just like,
yeah, like,
sorry, Oregonians, it is better than Tillamook. Although Tillamook is very good.
It took me forever to like try a Ben and Jerry's ice cream, because Ben and Jerry's ice cream is like $5 for a pint, and Bluebell was like $2 for a pint, and like really good. And it's like, even if it's great ice cream, like why would I could get double.
Ben and Jerry's is like gimmicky bullshit. Like, it's fun, but it's gimmicky bullshit. Anyway, my favorites are as follows. I only actually got well, whatever. Some of mine I stole from y'all. Sorry. The ones I thought of on my own without stealing them from y'all are there's this one that type of store right now locally. I don't actually remember what it is, but it's some kind of seasonal one from one of the main store brands, and it's some kind of like cinnamon pumpkin thingy. It's a sort of a seasonal autumnal ice cream. If you were to go to your local grocery store and take a look, you'd probably see it. It is slow churn variety. It's fantastic. Holy moly. We were hogging out of our minds as we ate it, and we did in fact get a repeat of it. Very, very, very good ice cream. Next is the ice cream by our sponsors, Dairy Queen. That's right, folks. I'm talking about it's funny. I went with the Butterfinger Blizzard. But the funny thing is, I picked the Butterfinger Blizzard which edged out slightly over the Dairy Queen dipped chocolate dipped cone, which is the other one that Sam said. So yeah, the Butterfinger Blizzard is just like, oh man, that's good stuff.
It really is.
And the other one that I thought of all on my own is not a real variety of ice cream. It is a fictional variety of ice cream. But in the show Gilmore Girls, there's a really funny line that I always reference whenever I'm eating something that's very chocolatey, where they go to the local cutesy, fucking New England small town ice cream shop, and as they do in that show, right? And they get the new flavor, which is called chocolate. It's the flavor of the week or whatever. And Rory, sweet little Rory, incapable of making good life decisions, Rory, except for purchasing chocolate ice cream. Who is like the what's his name? Wow, I'm so sleepy I can't even remember the names of Gilmore Girls characters. Chocolate ice cream is like the Jess of ice cream flavors as far as Rory's decision-making skills goes. Anyway, so she eats it, and then her eyes widen, and she goes nuts. Oh, and this is for the record. This is in the middle of like a scene, like the Lorelai, the main character of the show, is having like a deep conversation with the character, right? So she's talking, they're talking, she's talking, they're talking, and then in the middle of them talking, all of a sudden Rory goes, "Oh my god!" And they look at her, and she goes, "I know it's called chocolate, but this is really chocolatey." And she's just so excited, and they just kind of look at her. And they're like, all right. And then they continue on with the scene.
That does sound like a scene in Gilmore Girls.
It's a very cute little scene. And sometimes chocolate really do be that chocolate. So those are my three. But I did have to go ahead and slap on the old... I couldn't think of a specific Bluebell flavor to add, except that Bluebell is amazing in general. But then Sam mentioned the Bluebell Rocky Road, which really is something special. So I ended up getting 4, one of which was fictional and one of which I couldn't remember the name of. So that's pretty good.
We can give your last place to sea salt ice cream from Kingdom Hearts.
Okay, honestly though, any kind of ice cream where they're fucking it up with putting that little bit of salt there. Oh man, that's good shit right there.
Salt is so important in sweet things. You can't forget the salt.
Yeah, you gotta offset it with a bit of salt. Like you got to. You know what? Actually, no. Here we go. Mango sorbet. Okay, that's not that specific, but still.
Yeah, I'll count it.
Man, I used to work in a frozen yogurt shop. Did y'all know it's possible to get sick of frozen yogurt?
No, I don't actually believe it. I see you. I believe you. I honor your truth, but I think you're lying to me.
I don't.
Yeah, there's nothing quite like going to a froyo place and getting the biggest cup you can find and filling it with a monstrosity of things like you're a kid in a candy store. And it's a good time every time.
Yeah, except you're not, because you're an adult at a candy store.
Exactly.
It's slightly different.
Every time I would take my nieces to froyo, like I can tell that their parents don't ever let them have fun because I'm like, all right, we're here. Like, go mix strawberry cheesecake and mango sorbet and like chocolate ripple. Like, put them all together. That's what we're here for. And they would get like a thing of vanilla with like just hot fudge on top. And I'm like, no, you go back to the wine and you have fun. God damn it.
How are they raising these kids?
I don't know, man. But these kids, their favorite like snack, where like they will ask sometimes to not have dinner to have this instead, is rice with soy sauce on it.
Are you, bitch? That's not. That's not a treat. That's literally struggle dinner. That's what I have when I'm poor.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess if you can teach, if you know what, hot money saving tip, teach your kid that struggle dinners are actually a fun treat.
Oh.
Guess what, kid? Because you were such a great kid today, because you were so good all week and got A's on your report card, we're having oatmeal for breakfast. Then for lunch, you're gonna have a PBJ, and for dinner, buddy, you know we're having hamburger helper.
Give your kid just soda, and then think about how amazing they'll feel when you let them have a tall glass of water.
Man, I'm going to be a great parent.
Water with feeling amazing, and
yeah, just Pavlovianly train your kid to think that water is like the most delicious drink in the entire world. For the record, it ain't. I mean, it's in the top 10.
Water's great. I love water.
Good water, if it's good water with some ice, mwah.
So
that's why I drink it so much, right, babe? Water's delicious. That's why I drink it so much.
You don't drink any water.
Oh wait, hold on, real quick. I just noticed something funny last night. Last night I was organizing some picket support for a big strike that's happening over here. Is still happening. Has been happening for the last. It's a good thing we don't do the "How was your week" thing anymore, because every week I would have just been like, "Yeah, the Kaiser engineers of IUOE Local 39 are still on strike with the bastards at Kaiser Permanente, one of the most richest companies in America." Anyway, the point is. They had a big solidarity rally with a couple of other unions last 2 days, and I ended up showing up in some pictures online, which is funny because one of the funny things about me and my work, especially my work with organizing, is that I'm just like I have like a magical spider sense for not appearing in photographs, not on purpose. I'm vain and love appearing in photographs, but I never fucking do. Or I'm like covered up by something. It's like that thing in SpongeBob, right, where it's like. Yeah, I'm so excited, and then I'm covered up by something.
That's Monsters Inc. I was about to make that same joke. Here, Mike Wazowski.
Oh, that's right. It's Monsters Inc. At any rate, I finally saw myself in a picture last night or the day before that, and I'm in my natural environment. I'm in the back. I'm slightly blurry, and everyone else is. I've got a red flag in one hand, and in my other hand, everyone else is putting like their fists up or something, but I'm not, because I'm holding a coffee. And then I looked at some other pictures of myself from recent things, and I realized in every single picture I'm holding a coffee. Never water. I just chug coffee 24/7.
Yeah,
just like in Gilmore Girls.
Just like in Animal Crossing New Horizons version 2.0, where you can visit Brewster and get a to-go coffee mug, which you can walk around your island and sip on your coffee, and even sit down on the goddamn ground like a relaxation king.
Yeah, I have had a historical really hard time drinking water, and I always thought that I didn't like water because it was boring and tasteless, and I needed like Mio's or something like that to make me drink it. Turns out what I needed was a water bottle with a straw, so that it's less effort. And being a water bottle, it's big and tall, so I can set it right in front of me while I'm doing my other thing, and then it's like no effort to just.
I hate that. Hey, babe. Temperature check. Drinking water out of a straw. That seems terrible to me.
That's
okay. I was hoping that my girlfriend would support me on this, but
It's a good way to get love.
yeah, there you go. See?
Yeah, but it's been working for me. I bought this cute little Halloween themed water bottle that is red and black and has skulls all over it because I play punk music, and I was like, oh, this is a non-Halloween one. Like I can do this all year round because pop punk, and like something about it just has unlocked the water drinking portion of my brain, and I drink like 6 of these a day because it's easy to.
Damn, imagine. Couldn't be me.
But
people are always like doing hydration reminders and stuff, and my reaction to that is always just like, do you not get thirsty? Like I get thirsty and then I drink water, and I've been doing fine.
yeah, I get thirsty and I crack open another cold one with the boys, and
That's right. And by a cold one, I mean I make a French press of coffee. I mean a hot one.
A warm one.
Although cold ones are a little pricey. But it is hot chalky season though, and you know what else season it is? Eggnog season. I've not gotten any yet, but oh boy, am I excited to.
yeah, eggnog is weird for me because I loved it growing up and I loved it like in college, but I haven't had it since I broke up with Terry, my ex-boyfriend. I'm like afraid to try it, even though I remember all these fond times drinking eggnog over the years. But now I see it, I'm like, ew, no, sorry, that looks like worms to me. I can't, and I don't know what it is because it's great and I've had it many times, but I don't want it.
Weird.
Eggnog is an alpha Chad of a drink.
Yeah, I should just man up and try it again. There was something else very recently that I was afraid to try, and I tried it and it was good because of course it would be. I liked it before, but I can't remember what that
was.
Was
it My Chemical Romance? Because for me it was My Chemical Romance.
No, My Chemical Romance is really good though. Screw talking about this garbage chapter. Let's just do a My Chemical Romance podcast.
Oh man.
But alas, we must talk about this garbage chapter. So let's listen to some good ass music from this boring ass chapter, and then we'll talk about it. Bernard, does anything actually happen this week?
Well, I have a very short document containing my notes for this week. In between each paragraph, assume there's either a scene where nothing happens or a very long hallway with lots and lots of battles.
Yeah, I will say, to set the scene a little bit here, my girlfriend, who has been very insightful throughout my entire playthrough of this game, I feel like I've been mentioning him the most I've ever mentioned him on this podcast because of the constant insights. But Rohan made the insight that this chapter is like a repeat of the game's first chapter.
Mm-hmm.
Like, remember how the game's first chapter was like, you're running in a straight line, a bunch of stuff's happening that makes no sense. You're like on a literal like highway with debris on it for most of the chapter. It's boring as fuck.
Scene in their JRPG, but that's the last interesting thing that happens.
Yeah, so we see Reigns in the Primarch office being the Primarch in Eden. He steps out of his office to address the people of Cocoon. He says a bunch of vague shit about deciding their future, and then there's a race. Like a race car race, for some reason. But it's interrupted. Yes.
Oh, I was going to say, like, I think it's stupid, but I do love it. It's like, wait, you're giving your, like, inspirational, like, State of the Union address thing at, like,
NASCAR.
And then I was like, oh, you know what? I thought the game was losing the plot a little bit about this game being about America and the false fallacy representing the Communist Party, but we're back, baby. Ronald Reagan is giving his speech at a NASCAR event. Sci-fi NASCAR.
Yes. But the race is interrupted by the lessee appearing and flying down on their eidolons. They cause a ruckus, but they keep the racers safe. The crowd freaks out because they're lessee. Soldiers show up, and there's so many graphics as the gang fights them off.
Yeah.
We hear soldiers reporting that the armies of Pulse are using transgates to invade Eden. Monsters and mechs storm the city. A soldier enters Reigns' office to evacuate him, but the cavalry is there and fucking kill him. Reigns tells Rigdea, who we totally remember, that his dream is all but a Falsi's fantasy now and asks him to end it. Rigdea kills Reigns. More soldiers show up and the cavalry fights them. The gang realizes that all these bad guys are coming from the Ark, and they set out to save the day. On the way, they realize the cavalry is probably after Orphan. They gotta get there before the cavalry.
I don't remember who the cavalry are.
The cavalry is that
the
group
people
in the army that helped us
Cocoon.
before.
Yeah, it's the Cocoon good guys. The ones that were led by Reigns until he decided to be bad and then decided to be good again.
He didn't decide to be bad. He was taken over by Bartandalus.
Yeah.
But the people that Fang was with when she saved
Snow. Yes.
Snow? Okay.
Yeah.
I recognized reading the word Rigdea, did not remember who he was, what he looked like, who the cavalry were, anything. I'm like, I feel like I should know this, and it's not a random person coming in, but it felt just like a random person coming in.
Sam, like any good honest former Sunday school kid, you just said cavalry instead of cavalry.
God damn it.
Buddy, one of those is horses. The other one is Jesus.
Yeah, I will do that for the rest of my life.
Me
because
too.
I don't say either word often enough to remember that I got it wrong last time.
You know what finally broke me out of it? In Halo 1, whenever in the second level, Halo, so Halo 2 Halo of Halo 1, whenever you show up to the group of downed soldiers to rescue them, one of the stock lines is them going, "The cavalry has arrived," and kind of their like gung-ho, hoo-ha military talk. Anyway, playing that game for 10 billion years eventually made me remember which one is cavalry, which one is cavalry.
I remember, but I still probably say it wrong a lot of the time, just because switching up the order of letters in English words is an easy thing to do anyway.
Sure is.
And it doesn't help that both of these words, like they sound like they obviously sound different, but they sound enough of the same. Like it's a LR switchy uppy, which is like the most common linguistic issue in the entire world. And so
I never thought about that. Yeah. Good thing a language doesn't have an LR merger. It'd be even more difficult.
Yeah.
Anyway, the party fights their way through Psycom and Pulse monsters. Eventually, they run into Rosh. He attacks them with a big mech.
Who we remember.
We do remember him. He's the head of Psycom, and he really hates Lassie.
We did also kill him earlier, to be clear.
Yeah.
Yes, but he came back.
Yeah, he got better.
Yes. So this fight is impossible until you look up the trick online. So
Absolutely.
you look up the trick, and
or
it
if you're me and you just are overleveled and destroying everything, but yeah, sure.
Yeah, so it turns out you've just got to not stagger him, which means what you have to do is just be on Commander Medic the entire fight. So don't engage with the stagger mechanic, don't engage with the paradigm shift mechanic, and
Folks,
just
do you
auto
like
battle for
edging?
6 minutes.
Want to know the cool way to get the 5-star though, which actually like is a cool song and dance and is a fun way to do it, but who the fuck would know to do this? So if you have Fang's commando maxed out and you get her limit break, but they're not limit breaks at the very end, what that does is if you it deals a bitch tits of damage, and as the drawback to it, resets the stagger gauge, but it resets it doesn't end it. So if you if the stagger gauge ends, the proud dad will fuck you up with like 50 lasers in a row that you can't heal in between. But if it resets it to 0, that never happens. So the dance to do it is Snow's also has the same drawbacks. You can use Snow or Fang. You'll
use Fang.
Yeah, I have Fang. So you get them staggered. You use Lightning's limit break, Army of One, which if you haven't been using it, use it.
Oh, it's good.
It does 11 Ravager hits that increase the stagger meter if they're already staggered by like 25%. So if you can knock off two of those before it runs out, and you deal a shitload of damage, and it's almost gone, then you kick off High Wind, which is Fangs. It'll reset it. You won't get owned, and you'll do a shitload of damage, and that's how you get the 5-star, which is really cool. But like, who would think to do that?
Oh yeah, man, I totally forgot to click Craig Horse. Hope it's fine.
Should be.
I didn't do that. I did notice, that when he gets off of stagger, he hits you really hard. I was able to tank it.
You must be really over leveled.
It was not, even for me, it was not easy to tank it, but I mean, you gotta be buffed and all that stuff. But
I couldn't take it at all, even
but yeah, so I didn't bother being smart like that. But I will say also, there are also a lot of weapons that you can upgrade in such a way, or other things you can do with your equipment, such that you acquire an ability that makes it where you can't stagger people. It's called Stagger Lock. So you can do that in general if you want to just like get someone up 99% and then have it never go back down, right? So that's another thing you can do. I didn't experiment with that, but like if you wanted to, you could.
Yeah, the Stagger Lock is the like gotcha for all of the ultimate weapons. The ultimate weapons first two have. All the ones I've gotten have had it.
Oh, well, I haven't gotten any of them. So wait, I'm sorry. The third level weapons that all require to transform into them an item that can only be gotten from adamantoises.
So the ultimate weapons have 3 stages. The final stage, that is your ultimate weapon. Towards the end of the game, you can get a weapon that like will start at that one easier, but the way to get your ultimate weapon like normally is you find the shitty weapon that doesn't let you stagger. You evolve it twice, and that third one is the same as your ultimate weapon.
Every weapon can evolve into the ultimate weapon.
Yeah.
Can it?
Yeah, that's all. There's no ultimate weapon.
Is the ultimate weapon.
Yeah, there's no ultimate weapon in this game. Every single weapon has three stages: first stage, second stage, third stage, and the third stage is called Omega Weapon. Not called Ultimate Weapon. It's called Omega Weapon. Ultimate Weapon just is also a thing that Lightning can get. It's different.
That means the same thing.
They're all called Omega Weapon, but they're all actually different, which is very annoying. Like. They're all unique weapons, depending on which one you transformed it from, but they all have the same name, which makes it probably confusing. But as far as I can tell, literally any of them require a catalyst that is only obtained as a random drop from adamantoises. Unless I'm wrong about this, but that's what
I think you can also dig 1 or 2 up from with a chocobo, and I think you can also buy them, but it costs something like 20 million gil.
Well, I never managed to get one. But luckily, the level 2 weapons at their max level are really good. So, like, shoot, we're good, man.
So I never noticed that Omega Weapon did all of them. So what I saw is I just scrolled down to the bottom of the list, And the bottom of the list, Lionheart, the one you can get this chapter that has quick stagger, which is awesome.
Yeah, that one I have. That's what I switched to.
That one does upgrade to a weapon called Ultima Weapon, and that upgrades to a weapon called Omega Weapon. So I'm like, bottom of the list, I see the word Ultima Weapon, I see Omega Weapon. Nope. Omega Weapon is an evolved form of Ultima Weapon. So I scroll up one and I see Hot Claire, which is her. Which is the one that has stagger lock.
Claire?
Yes. That's the one that has
H-A-U-T-O?
H-A-U-T-E, yes.
Yeah, but we're calling it Hot Claire because she is.
Yeah.
She is Hot Claire.
It's Hot Claire.
I also, somehow I've gone through my entire life without even engaging with French things at all. And
That's
I
good.
I really don't feel like ever
Hey
trying
y'all,
it.
I was just a Game FAQs, and in the search bar, I typed in Game FAQs. I'm sorry, I'm so sleepy. Oh, I've had a really hard. It's been maybe one of the busiest weeks of my entire life. I wanted to say the reason I was searching Game FAQs for Game FAQs was I just wanted to say shout outs to Bover_87, BOVER_87 for one of the best guides I've ever seen on Game FAQs. It's just the HTML one. It's just a stupendously good walkthrough. I don't generally use walkthroughs much with games, but this game is both interesting enough to dig into and opaque enough that I don't feel that I would like some help because I am on a time crunch here because of the whole podcast thing, so I can't just figure it all out myself. So it's like I do want to engage these mechanics, but don't have time to figure what they are, so I will use a walkthrough. Just great work, Bover_87 on this walkthrough you last updated November 4th, 2019.
I hadn't been using that one. I had been using. Let me go back.
Back so good. Like it takes you to like links you can click to take to different sections and stuff.
I had been using Krista 84s because what I've done since the dawn of time, and by the dawn of time I mean GameSages.com.
Is it click on the one with the most kilobytes?
Yes, it's click on the one with the most kilobytes.
That's how you do it. Yes, that is. That you see 4 different FAQs and Game FAQs. You're like, I don't know which one's the best one. Which one's the largest file size?
That's exactly it.
It probably is good, but the other one, the first one listed, the top rated one is really stupendous. It actually was apparently FAQ of the month in November 2019. So
that's awesome. The one by Krista 84 is really good, but I did dislike it this week because it just mentions the Juggernaut fight as if it were a mob because you can find them on Grand Pulse. So it didn't give you any tips on how to do it. It just was like, oh, this is a random mob. And I'm like, no, it's a mini boss. But it gets a cutscene. Like, it's a mini boss.
Kind of think of it, they almost did the reverse thing of what video games do, that classic thing we all love where bosses come back later in the game as random enemies.
Mm-hmm.
This game does it in reverse. Enemies that are literally just random, not random as in random battles, but just random as in they're just chilling. Enemies that are literally just random field enemies earlier in the game, but are optional because you can't beat them, show up later as bosses.
Yeah, that happened twice this week.
And that also means that if you think about it in a reverse engineering kind of way, if you feel like engaging with the post game, then they do the thing where bosses show up later as normal enemies. Where later means whenever you're strong enough to actually fight them.
Yeah, so the Juggernaut on Grand Pulse, because like the way you get through a Final Fantasy dungeon, especially this one that has so few offshoots, is if you see an offshoot, there's an item there. Go get the item. And so there's a little offshoot, and I can see a dude up there, and it's when you're underground and you have to play Sonic Spinball to get out or whatever. And so I saw because there's the Fal'Cie that's digging a hole, looks like Metal Sonic.
Yeah, that's what you're talking about. Okay, yeah, I gotcha.
Sorry, I was like 4 references deep. But
no, I thought you meant happening this chapter. So I was like, what?
No. On Grand Pulse.
That was a good one. Good one.
Okay. And so I see the
Yeah,
Juggernaut
pretty
up there, and I'm like, oh, they're bringing it back. Remember when in chapter 3 when we rode around on a Juggernaut? I'm like, that's what we'll do. We'll jump on the Hope will jump back on the Juggernaut. We'll jump down there. We'll stop
Nope.
Sonic and let us go through. No, that's an in-game boss, and it beat the shit out of me.
Yeah,
right
it did.
away.
It did to me at that point in the game as well. Yeah, I got absolutely demolished.
Yeah, but we're not quite to talking about the Juggernaut yet. We should at least get through the little bit of plot that we need to get through before we get there. Bernard.
Yeah. So we beat the Proud Pud and it retreats, so we're going to have to fight it again. But for now, the gang reiterates their great plan to reveal to all of Cocoon how bad the Fal'Cie are. They fight a ton of annoying battles and eventually run into Snow's buddies from Nora. It's not clear what they're doing in Eden. They ask Snow why he didn't come find them and tell them he's a false lessee. They say they'll take care of the civilians while Snow and the gang save Cocoon. How did they know their goal was to save Cocoon? And that was what we were doing. Snow asks what their motto is. They yell, Fal'Cie are no match for Nora. How did they even know Fal'Cie are bad?
Man, I was so checked out at this point, I didn't even think about how stupid this was.
It was very stupid.
Well, the whole trope of those dumb friends that helped you out at the beginning of the game that by this point in the game, due to like anime plot, like skill level creep, are 0% important by this point, are back to help you is such a dumb, annoying trope anyway that I didn't even think about the rest of it.
Yeah, especially because like they don't show up to help in any meaningful way. They just like show up and say, "Oh, Snow, you're a hero now. Death to all the Fal'Cie. Okay, goodbye." And not like, "Oh, hey, we're going to like help save the people around here that are being caught in the line of fire," because there's like NPCs in your battle areas now and stuff. Like they're everywhere. It's not like they're like, "Oh, we're going to take care of them so you can go and focus." They just show up and high five, and that's the scene. And it's like it's not even a good version of the. Yeah, it's not even a good version of the "we're helping people now" sort of thing. Not a single spirit bomb energy was donated.
Yeah, and just so we're clear, like this dungeon, man, it's long. The graphics are beautiful, and I will say it's a lot better actually than Chapter 1 because unlike Chapter 1, which is literally up in the air, like it's just you're on essentially floating platforms, basically. Mm-hmm. At least for a lot of this here. Well, you are on a racetrack for a lot of the beginning of it, but you can see the city below you, and it's really beautiful. And at least it's a contextualized racetrack. But then later, you're actually in the city. And even if it's the exact same boring shit, I will say, running through a Cybertropolis at ground level, you know, with little parks and stuff, is a big improvement.
Yes. So
but it's a straight line, and every battle takes like 10 fucking minutes, and you can skip way fewer of them than usual. And I am back on the this game sucks train.
So right before,
at least this chapter sucks.
Right before the Nora cutscene, the dungeon there, I actually liked because you can go basically straight to the end by fighting hard ones. Or you can go the long way, fight a shitload of easier monsters and get more treasure and stuff. And I liked that concept because we haven't ever done that. All the other ones that we've done have been only one way to make it forward, and this one wasn't that. So I did like that a little bit. So it is not only hallways, but it is mostly hallways, and so many like. In Chapter 4, in the Gapper Whitewood, they introduced, like, oh, sometimes the only way through is to kill all the enemies in the area. And then they haven't ever used that until right now, the time where I don't want it. Like, it would have been fine in, like, one of the more dungeony ones. Like, in the fucking tower we did on Grand Pulse, that would have been, like, a fine mechanic there. I hate that mechanic in general, but it would have, like, you were unlocking things there. But this is
supposed to be, like, action-packed, let's go save the day, and it's like... The battles are just a slog, man. Yeah. They're all such bullet sponges. It's wacko jacko.
And several times this chapter, I would like figure I was doing something wrong, like I wasn't being aggressive enough or something like that, because it was taking forever, and I was like, ugh, whatever. And then the battle ends, and it's like 5 stars. You beat that literally as fast as possible. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, I don't want to play this anymore.
Yeah.
I don't want 6 minutes to be 5 stars on a random battle. That's not cool.
Yeah. So the gang continues on. Eventually, they find themselves surrounded by what looks like little translucent crystals floating in the air. Saz speculates that Cocoon is already falling apart. Suddenly, the Pope's giant head appears and says this conflict is rousing the Maker. The Pope appears in person and asks if we really think we can stop the cavalry from destroying Orphan. He says they'll have to kill them. Lightning says no. Unlike you, they'll listen to reason. He says we should head to the center of Eden. Our loved ones miss us so. Come, Lassie, fulfill your destiny. The Pope flies away. Hope says they'll decide their own destiny. As the gang nears the seat of Eden, they come upon the Proudclad again. It took me 23 and a half minutes to beat it.
Holy shit.
I didn't beat it.
Yes. Well, I couldn't figure out any sort of trick or anything, so I just fought it for 23 and a half minutes.
Which one is this again? What's its deal?
I don't even know what its deal is. It just changes forms a lot and hits you really hard.
Yeah, so
And
it
hits
has
you harder if you stagger it.
Yeah, it has the same thing as before, where if you stagger it,
Right.
it then beats the shit out of you. But you also can basically not stagger it, because it, like every other turn of it it charges up a move, like charge 25, 50, 75, 100.
That's right.
And when that charges up, it changes form. And when it changes form, it resets its stagger meter back to 0.
Oh, it changes form? See,
Yeah.
when an enemy starts doing a big charge, I think to myself, wow, that's probably going to be a nasty move. I better make sure it doesn't do that. So I never once let it finish its charge. I would stagger it to make it not do its charge, because I was scared of what would happen if it finished its charge. So that's funny that's how I decided to handle that battle. Now that I know what the charge was, just a form change that makes it.
Yeah. And it's like ground form is less obnoxious but harder to stagger. So it's like there's no upsides to this battle. And I gave it a good college try right before we recorded, because I watched the video to finish it out last night. And so I gave it a good try, but what I'm about to do is do a tank, a healer, a commando, and spam X while I watch TV or something, because
It's about the length of a half-hour TV show.
Sounds good. I think I beat it my first try because it get overleveled, but I do remember it being an enormous pain in everyone's ass. Yeah. Also, for those of you all not taking who haven't been taking notes, Proudclad is in fact a reference to Final Fantasy VII. It's slightly different in terms of name, but maybe it's because the original was a bad translation or something. Ooh, I just got an Oinkoid. I mean,
Oh, are you playing
no, I
Animal
didn't. I have to mindlessly do my daily tasks every day, so I'm doing them.
yeah.
See. So after you beat the Proudclad, or you start watching the video on YouTube, Ross stumbles out. He asks what happened to his soldiers, and the gang's like, "Oh, they turned into Seath and we killed them." Rush says that under Falsey orders, he orchestrated mass murder, all to answer the fears of a panicked populace. For a people utterly dependent on the Falsey, it was the only solution he could offer, even if that solution was a farce. He believed Falsey rule was best for Cocoon's prosperity, but it seems he misjudged their benevolence. He accepts his punishment and sends a message to SciComm and Guardian Corps to suspend Lassie operations and instead focus on evacuating civilians. And here's a part I really don't understand. He says he doesn't give this order as an absolute and they're free to make the choice. So he's like, stop hunting the Lassie and stop doing the bad thing and start doing a good thing instead. If you want, if you feel like it.
So, this part was funny. I agree it makes no sense, but I was glomming onto its nonsense making in a different way. He gives his whole speech about how the people are just so scared and they can't think for themselves and blah, 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 and they're just freaking out because of how scary the fal'Cie are. And then he's like, I'm going to order them to stop doing that. And I'm like, buddy, everything you said makes me think that if you ordered everyone, hey guys, stop killing fal'Cie, actually, they would just be like, no, I'm not going to do that just because you tell me to.
Maddie Grace, have you ever said the words l'Cie and fal'Cie correctly?
No.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. To be fair, in this case, the people do hate both of those things. But at any rate, so I'm like, wait, you can't just order your underlings to stop being bad. They deeply believe in this. They'll just tell you to go fuck yourself. Like when, I don't know, like when occasionally Donald Trump does something good, and instead of all of the Trump fans being like, damn, we think that thing is good now because we just are blind Trump fans, they're actually just like, hey, fuck you, guy. Which is pretty funny, actually. But anyway, but then when he says, but it's actually your choice, initially I thought, oh, that's actually the game acknowledging that they might just not believe him. But then I'm like, wait, but he's saying stop doing a thing that's really, really bad. You think he would at least attempt to make it a strong order, even if they're not going to listen. Just saying it's your call seems like a weird thing to be chill about. But no, dude, it's because this whole chapter they've been going on and on about choice and how important choice is and the freedom to choose and all that shit. So they're just hitting that theme again. He's like, yeah, I want to tell you to stop massacring people who didn't do anything wrong and are actually the good guys, but like, I don't want to impose on like your right to free association, so like,
Yeah.
It would actually be very carceral of me to tell you what to do. So, like, you can continue being terrible if you feel like it. It's fine. It's really not my place.
So after this, Rosh collapses and tells them to get going with saving Cocoon. Snow tells him to stay alive. They'll see him when this is over.
Let's see him.
The gang marches on through the door into the next area. Behemoths approach Rosh. He stands and says this is the end he has chosen. He uses some sort of grenade thing. It looks like a grenade, but he like pulls a trigger. I don't know.
TFW, you use some sort of grenade thing. Dude, that's just a grenade. Yeah, that's just a gun grenade. It's like a gun blade, but instead of a gun that's also a sword, it's a gun that's also a grenade. Come on, man. It's first grade stuff.
The gang hears the explosion and is really sad about Mr. Genocide dying. The end.
The end.
That's what happened in this chapter. Just nothing. In case you're curious, if you play a teeny little bit more, you get transported into the final dungeon, chapter 13, because it's Final Fantasy 13, which is just a to use the TV tropes word, the Amazing Technicolor Battlefield, or Amazing Technicolor Dungeon rather. It's just graphics, and you just go down another big hallway. The last two chapters are both one dungeon. It's just, let's go save the world. It just takes you 2 chapters of it to do it, right? The reason I mention it, though, is because if you play just a little bit more of the chapter, walk like down one hallway and maybe fight one battle or avoid it in the Amazing Technicolor Dungeon, then all of a sudden your cogwifes will show up and open up a magical portal, which lets you go back to Pulse and side quest to your heart's content. So, if you're following along or something and feel like, I don't know, if you feel like you're almost done for the day because, like, fuck this stupid chapter, play a little bit more, and then you can go back to the fun part of the game.
Yeah. But, yeah, let's listen to some more music from this game, and then we will talk about our memorable moments. what about our memorable moments for this chapter, if you have any?
I have one.
Go for it.
I might be the only one who has one. So there's a scene where the gang comes to the end of the huge highway racetrack thing that they're on, and they need to jump down to someplace very far below. And Vanille's like, if only we could fly. And then Lightning's like, we have this. And she tosses some weird little device to Vanille, and Vanille grabs it, and she's like, what's this? And Lightning just fucking jumps without telling her how it works.
And we know it's the thing from the beginning of the game that they've had the whole time, but she
Vanille
doesn't know that.
Vanille doesn't know how to work this thing, and suddenly everyone has them and just jumps off. And it's like funny that Vanille has misgivings about this, but I'm with Vanille here.
Yeah, no. Hashtag I'm with her.
Anyways, that's all I have. There's not a lot memorable in this chapter.
My memorable moment, it actually might be last week. I actually lied a little bit last week and actually beat it. Not out of it being too hard, but just because of running out of time. I was right at the final boss and just hadn't beaten it. But when I lied and said it was easy, because I figured it was, and it turns out I was right. It was, because I was over leveled. But anyway, so my memo's actually from last week, but it's the very, very end, the final little cutscene. I don't know, man. They all give their big speech about the point of the game, and they're like, what's the right thing to do? We don't know. And as I said, this game actually has a lot of really interesting thematic stuff that a lot of it I think is really, really good and cool. But apparently, what this game is all about in the final analysis is that, what really matters is, having the freedom to choose what you want to do, man, and just fighting for the people that you love, and that's stupid. So the end. No, they hit that theme a million times throughout this chapter. It's it's constantly coming up, choice. That's what matters in this game. It's what am I watching? What am I watching? Black Widow 2021.
You heard it here first, folks. Maddie is not pro-choice.
I am not pro-choice. That's not true. But honestly, so quick aside to Black Widow 2021, that movie is dumb. It was fine, 2.5 stars, whatever. But first of all, they're doing the whole girl power thing. Second of all, the main theme of that movie is definitely freedom, because the bad guy, who's a Soviet, even though it takes place in the year 2021, because he's Russian, they hate freedom, and Americans love freedom, and the bad guy's mind controlling everyone. But every time use the word choice, and that might seem like a weird nitpick, but every time they use the word choice, it stands out as being awkward. If I were a writer, I would have used the word freedom here, or liberty, or whatever. There's a million other words you could have used here, and they always use the word choice. And combining that with the movies raw girl boss, girl power kind of thing, we're gonna saving all the women from misogyny and stuff. I'm they're using the word choice as a feminist dog whistle. That's what they're doing. They're women need the right to choose. And it was really annoying to me, as someone who, to be clear, is pro-choice. But it was stupid. It was dumb. Anyway, this game is doing the same thing. It's just after all the complications and all the interesting thoughts of the highs and lows of disillusionment and confusion of overcoming your personal struggles to try and see what's really important, not just reacting out of trauma, right? Not just reacting out of your immediate desires, but really being able to analyze the situation, being able to come together with people who are very different than you and have very different views on how to on what should be done to really try and save things. Realizing the truth of the situation, that the reality has been pulled over everyone's eyes, but then being in a very, very difficult rock in a hard place kind of thing, right? Trying to identify who really is the enemy here. Why is the situation like this, and how do we cut through it, the Gordian knot of history, right? To go through all that, and then just arrive on what really matters is that it's our decision. I was very disappointed. I thought it was stupid.
Yeah,
that's my mem, Mom. Also, I believe I may have taken a screenshot of a really cute enemy here, but I don't have it pulled up, so yeah. I mean, look, we've talked about this. This game's got lots of little guys.
Is it cute like little non-human or cute as in girl? Because the girl soldiers were girl cute.
Oh, they're hot. Yeah, would. No, I'm talking about like a cute little soul, like a cute little monster.
I am unfamiliar.
Well, whatever. It's no Crumpoid.
Crumpoid is amazing. I have a Crumpoid.
Crumpoid is like the second one that we got, and we both lost our fucking minds.
It's so good. So I don't have any mem-mom, so I was perusing through the data log to see if anything jumped out at me. So I looked to see if maybe the Nora scene, just like chapter 1, is better if we understand the context. So I go to read it, and it says, and I quote, "Suddenly, the Nora crew arrived to lend a hand, and Snow is relieved to find that, in spite of his transformation into a lassie, his old friends treat him just as they always had. Their acceptance as much as their assistance gives the lassie new hope. They can't give up. End of data log." That's it.
It just says that they helped. It doesn't say why or how. It just says they helped. Also, did they though? That's man. Even the data log is giving up at this point.
Yeah. Also, Hope's dad's character thing updated this week to say that he's being protected by the cavalry. And
there you go. You got it. Good job, Sam.
Woo! It showed that he's being protected by them while all this shit is happening, which we didn't know before. Which is like cool, but like I don't care at this point.
Who gives a fuck? Wait, I feel like y'all this week turned us all into the Joker.
It did. I hope that the ending is just bonkers and stupid enough to coast us into so I've been doing a little bit of research into Final Fantasy 13 too, to like plan out our weeks, those sorts of things. And because remember when I was like, oh, we just need like 3 quick, easy fixes. So I don't think the camera and movement controls are fixed. It wasn't mentioned.
It's like the same engine basically.
But all of the battle things are have been fixed. Like you can swap between your protagonists by giving a full ATB battle bar in battle, and your Crystarium is a true sphere grid now. Instead of like, oh, remember the sphere grid? It was kind of cool. This one, it's like, no, here's a full ass sphere grid. Work the way that you want to spec your character how you want to. And those were like the 2 like behind the scenes sort of things, and then you can capture monsters, which is great. So seems like 13.2 is going to be gameplay better, and maybe story better, maybe story's a lot worse, but who knows.
I actually have one more mem that is just me being stupid. Like I said, I'm kind of getting into the weapon upgrade thing, and I mentioned before that it's kind of hard to switch characters in this game because it's such a resource suck to upgrade all of your shit. Well, at this point, the game has started to give you enough big rewards from your battles, especially if you have your 2 collector catalog and the other catalog. You start getting a lot of shit. You actually have enough stuff where you can really upgrade your weapons quite a bit, actually. So I haven't switched characters yet, but I was able to switch weapons because I was like, well, I'm already locked into one weapon, right? But then I looked at the guide, and the guide was like, here's our recommended weapons for each character. And some of them I was already using that weapon, and some of them I wasn't. And for lightning, it was like, really, it's a toss-up between these 2 weapons, but here's my explanation for why you would use this one versus this one. And I agreed with the guide, basically. The guide explained what the deal was with the 2. I believe the 2 that it said were the 2 front runners were Hot Claire and Braveheart, or Lionheart. And I ended up, like the guide, being like, yeah, Lionheart sounds like the best one for me. So I switched to it, and in order to make money, though, I was like, okay, if I'm going to be following the guide here, which I will, I'm going to sell every weapon that isn't the recommended weapon, right? Just sell everything, just say, fuck it. I'm going all in. If your stats are high enough in this game, you can just plow through anything else. So fuck like variety, right? Or having different status effects. I'm just going to go all in on this. Also sold a lot of accessories that I wasn't using. sold, just like totally like the fucking house in Up, right? Just clearing it all out so that I can accomplish my goals. It's a big emotional scene for me. But here's the problem. I sold every weapon that wasn't the right one according to the guide, except I forgot that I'd already upgraded Hope's weapon to the 2nd level. So I saw the weapon he currently had equipped and was like, that's not the one the guide says. So I sold it. It was the level 2 weapon of the one the guide recommended.
God damn it.
I'd already upgraded it. So I lost so many resources by selling that fucking weapon. I felt like such a goddamn idiot. Oh my god. So many, whatever they're called, engine thingies, whatever the one thing you buy is that gives you a whole lot of XP. So I'm like all the way down to fucking 0 with Hope again. Hope was the one character of the 3 where I already was using the guide recommended weapon, is the thing. So I switched Lightning to a new one. I switched Vanille to a new one. Hope I could have just left there. He was almost all the way at his top level for his 2nd weapon, and now I'm at 0. Luckily, I had enough resources where Lightning is now at max level on her 2nd level Lionheart, and Hope is about where he was before I was an idiot. But now I'm all out of resources, so Vanille is going to have to catch up.
Yeah. Because I was curious, I looked it up, and it is not Hot Claire. It is Axis Blade and Lionheart are the 2 best ones.
Gotcha. Yeah, the guy made a good case for the guy explained very deeply like what its assessment was of each weapon. And I was like, this is really cool. They're letting me like make the choice.
Yeah.
There should have been a Lassie among the party that just immediately became the Joker.
Why so serious? Just beatboxing.
I guess Lightning's initial response was sort of to become the Joker, but I want someone fully Joker-fied.
Yeah. Have y'all seen the video where the guy does the Joker beatboxing?
No.
I'm gonna have to force you all to listen to that after this is over.
God damn it.
It's really bad.
So on that note, I guess we'll end the episode. If you like what you heard today, you can check us out on the web at www.rpgbook.club, where you can donate to help us keep the lights on and unlock more and more of these long cast and short cast episodes. We are not quite there to unlocking 13.3. So if you want to go and do that, make us finish out the trilogy, you can go and donate there. Otherwise, let's beat the game next week, everybody. For RPG Book Club Longcast, I have been Sam Allman.
I'm David Bernard Houck.
And I'm becoming the Joker.
Toodaloo, folks.
Bye, everybody.
Every fal'Cie is as good as dead, or whatever they said.
The only good fal'Cie is the only way to stop a bad Lassie with a gun is a good Lassie with a gun. I couldn't get it right twice in the same sentence. Holy fucking shit, I need to go to sleep.
Finished watching is a complex notion for the review of Cyberpunk 2077, but I finished watching it, and there was this what for me was a huge twist at the end. Do you want to hear what it was?
No.
It made me very happy.
Nice.
Is it the Truckhead shirt?
No.
No, I will figure out the twist for myself. Thank you very much.
Also, it might have been a troll, but he announced the first review for season 2, and I'm very excited about it.
Oh shit! What is it?
It is
my summer vacation, but Boku no Natsu Yasumi.
Yeah, I was trying to remember the Japanese name. It's a game series that I've been very interested in, but it's only in Japanese.
Nice.
But it's just like a game series about being a little boy and having a summer vacation out in the countryside, and it's supposed to be amazing.
Nice.
And he said that's what he's reviewing first, so I'm very excited about that, because Tokimeki Memorial is now one of my favorite games, even though I've never played it.
Yeah.
Like, I have seriously thought about playing the DS ones, because the DS ones aren't coded bonkersly, which is the main reason it doesn't have a fan translation, is because the script is not stored in any way that normal people store scripts. And but the DS games are fine, but they're not as good. And I've been slowly, as in I am about 7 text boxes in to Tokimeki Memorial 2, and just in Japanese, but it doesn't have Furigana, so it's real hard to get through.
Yeah, I'm just praying that someday someone will crack Tokimeki Memorial and we'll be able to have a fan translation. We have a fan translation of fucking Racing Lagoon. So that's exciting.
Anything can happen now.
It's a whole new world.